the sun is high, we're feeling good. In Miami where the spirit's understood. With Bobby Finn's top leading the crew. We're gonna show you what these Dolphins do. Fins up high, the crowd's roaring loud. In the city with the blue and aqua proud. Finn Stanza's here with the play-by-play. We're getting ready, it's game day. Are you ready for some football? Miami Dolphins standing tall. Are you ready for some football? Showtime at the Hard Rock, y'all. From the tailgate to the field of green with the best fans you ever seen. Bobby's got the scoop, hot off the press. In Miami, we roar to impress. Play up stats and pregame chat.
Good evening, Dolphin fans. Happy Thanksgiving to all my American brothers and sisters out there. I'm Finn Stanza, the lone Canadian of the Finn Talk Sports Network. With me are two of my favorite people, my mentors, my heroes, Bret and Greg. How you two doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. So excited for this game coming up. Yes, me. I'm excited for the Dolphins game coming up.
So both of you, thank you for joining me tonight. As Bobby wants to spend a little more time with his family, he will be on the post-game show today. But because I think Bobby usually is eating lunch around now. He eats dinner around midnight, so he eats lunch around 7. So that's why Bobby's not joining us at this hour. So both of you, how has your Thanksgiving been today?
Filling.
Yes.
What did you fill up most on? What are the highlight foods for you today?
Jeez. Well, always with my mother-in-law, it's always the dumplings, the stuffing, mac and cheese, yams, and the turkey. We deep fry it, and it's the way they season it, whatever they do to it, it's so good. But oh man, what else did we have? Then we had like chocolate pudding pie. My wife made her own homemade from Ghirardelli cocoa powder chocolate pudding pie. And it was just it was good.
And you, Greg?
We had brisket and sausage and turkey and
good Lord, brisket, sausage.
It's good. And we had some of the traditional sides. We had some Latin sides, so there's lots and lots and lots of food. So we're going to be eating it for the next 3 days.
Yeah. Well, people say that you spend anywhere between people on Thanksgiving eat between 3,500 and 4,000 calories on Thanksgiving Day. I go, holy crap! That's 3 days of food in one meal. It's absolutely insane. But you want to know what? It's pretty amazing. It brings out the best. Like for me, I love American Thanksgiving just because I know on that day I get to work, but at the same time I get to watch football. And what a game! What an interesting experience. The first game, guys, before we talk about Dolphins, we're going to talk NFL a little bit. So what were your thoughts on that Lions-Bears game? Like, what did you like about it? What did you enjoy about it? What do you think was ridiculous about it? Which I'm leaving that kind of open. So, Greg, what did you think of that interesting game where I thought the Lions should have killed them? How that stayed where it was, how close it was...
The entire game was ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Chicago had 2 first downs, and they didn't get their first down until 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
Or something, or in the first half, right? Yeah. The Lions just basically said, "I don't want to score touchdowns," and basically just said, "Okay, we're just going to kick field goals all day."
Tony Soprano style.
Yeah. You got a dumb fumble and basically at the end of the first half to put the game away for the Lions, gave Chicago some hope. Caleb Williams actually played a pretty decent second half. Okay, they started moving the ball. I don't know why it took them a whole half to figure out how to do it, but okay, they started moving the ball, and then they have a chance to win because Detroit, all right, and their head coach who can't manage a game. Okay. Let's just say it. All right. He can't manage a game. He can't manage the clock. All right. Basically gave Chicago a chance to win the game. And then Chicago, all right, basically went to grad school at the Mike McDaniel clock management, school, right? He basically said, I don't know what to do the last 30 seconds. Let's just run the clock out with a timeout. I was like, what are you doing? You need a game-tying field goal. And you keep a timeout in your pocket and let the game run away. He should be fired. Eberflus should be fired.
Did they let him?
I think
Did
he
they let
will
him
be.
back on the plane? Should we let
Yes,
them-
it's unbelievable. But yeah, that game's unreal. And then the Giant Dallas game is just
Want to hear a crazy stat?
The Giants
Look,
Dallas game is awful.
No.
I couldn't even watch it.
I'm watching it. The Giants' first possession today had 70 yards and 5 first downs. Their last 8 possessions since 35 yards, 4 first downs.
yeah.
Neither team looks good at all, and neither team looks like look, they're all of them. Both teams look bad, and with backup quarterbacks and all. So that just shows you the state of the NFL
Yeah.
and the backup quarterback rate.
Yeah.
It's bad. We saw it with the Dolphins. It was a major drop off, and the teams who actually value backup quarterback tend to do better with their backups. I mean, look at the Browns with Jameis Winston. At least Jameis Winston's a capable quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not gonna. I don't think he's like an excellent quarterback, but like if the Dolphins had a guy at Jameis Winston level, we could have stayed afloat. Or if Tyler Huntley was our backup from the beginning, I think he was talented enough to maybe if Skyler never played a game, Tyler Huntley might have won us another game in there, not just one game. So
But the part that cracks me up, you knew that this was going to be a backup quarterback game, right? You knew that the offense was going to be choppy and stuff. The Giants missed 10 tackles in the first half. It's week 12.
yeah,
How do you keep missing tackles like this?
It's all about coaching.
I feel like
it is.
I don't
It's just
know if the Giants are
unbelievable.
fully tanking or if they gave up, but at
Thanksgiving.
least the Dolphins, like under Flores, they were still well coached. They weren't a talented football team, but they were so well coached. But like with that Lions game, I'll bring this up because I've seen this with the Dolphins. I don't know how many times, and I tweeted this out. The Lions, like you mentioned, they fumbled in the red zone. It happens. You can't afford it, but when you're playing hard, it happens. But they settled for 4 field goal attempts in the red zone, a fumble in the red zone, and so they get 3 out of 5 attempts in the red zone. You come away with 9 total points. That's not winning football, and that's how you barely win 23-20 with a rookie quarterback not paying attention to the clock and a head coach just completely not realizing his rookie quarterback doesn't see that and doesn't call a timeout. Like, yeah, it's not ideal. You don't want to call a timeout there, waste your last one. But I would have rather called a timeout, get it together, get a play, get field goal range.
They've gone 4 plays in.
Right. And they hurry up and spike it. You had time to probably at least at minimum get 2 to 3 plays in and kick the field goal. So that was just bad. But the Lions should have ran away with that game. But the problem was they took their foot off the gas. And in the red zone, they were shooting themselves in the foot, just taking sacks, not hitting open receivers, but they were dicing them up between the 20s. And that's been the Dolphins for a lot of games like that. And it's not necessarily against like lower competition, but it's always against better competition. So really hoping tonight that we don't see that. You get in the red zone. And if you get in the red zone 5 times, you have to come away with 2 to 3 touchdowns. You can't walk away with 3 field goals and that's it. You can't walk away with 9 points. But that's not winning football. We've seen the Dolphins do that before, and that's where we've lost games. See the Cardinals game. Too many field goal attempts when we should have been. And if we had converted one of those to a touchdown, we don't lose that game. So that's just an example of what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, guys, last time we were here, what were we? We all were here together. We were 1-5, 2-6. Who even knows? We've been talking about the fact that we go back. You were at that Rams game. You got to sit in that beautiful stadium. Is that stadium is all that it's cracked up to be?
And more.
Insane.
And more. I told the story earlier in the year, but my sales rep for the Miami Dolphins, my season ticket rep, he basically sent me a survey to rate the Hard Rock Stadium, and I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. And he calls me back on it. He says, only an 8.5? And I was like, well, there's only 110 in the NFL, and it's SoFi. You know, it is just a phenomenal facility.
From the look of it, they built like
it
looks like a city. It looks like a city inside of a stadium, like the stadium's inside of a city. It's amazing.
It is simply amazing. It's my favorite. It's by far my favorite stadium I've ever been to, and I haven't been to all of them, but I've been to a dozen or more, and it is by far my favorite.
Very cool. No, so any picks on the field, Grand Jazeera at 12. Thank you for watching, everyone who's watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to be here for post game. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. So we're here. We're 5-6. We are on the verge of going 500. Perfect timing to break these narratives. We look at the game against the Rams where we sort of kept them in it. You were at that game where I don't understand what the Dolphins were waiting for to put the pedal to the metal. Then we had the game against the Raiders. Did the same thing. Even though we won by 15, it was still a game where it was still close in the fourth quarter. Now last week, finally, they put a little bit of the pedal to the metal, and then they finally take out their players, and we realize we really don't have a backup quarterback, which once again goes to our favorite GM and head coach on how they don't manage. But the one thing that we've all been talking about, what happened in the Rams game, which wasn't happening yet in the Raiders game, something happened last week, which is 4 days ago. What surprise, surprise, when the majority of your snaps go to your top players and you're throwing the ball. Yes, tonight we probably expect them to run a little more. It's cold weather. But when you get the balls to your playmakers, it's easier to win football games. What have we been talking about on all the shows we've been doing? Is you need to get the balls to your best players. If Tyreek's not involved and Jalen Waddle's not involved, the way this team is built, I don't care who Achane is, I don't care who Wright is, I don't care who Jonnu, but if Jonnu Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill are not contributing in a very effective way, we're not going to win. So let me ask you guys a couple of things, and then you guys, I'll leave it to you guys. What have you liked about the 3-game win streaks? Because we haven't really been on a show. What do you like about the sort of adjustment of the offense? Do you like where it's going? Is it leading up to what we need to do tonight? What do you still see as an issue on the offensive side of the ball? And just give me your perspective on those aspects. And are you impressed with how McDaniel's been able to adjust a little bit? Then we'll talk about the defense, keys to the game, inactives. But what have you guys liked over the last 3 weeks on the offensive side of the ball that's led to this 3-game win streak?
What I like on the offensive side of the ball, everything. No, so like honestly, ever since like Tua came back, they obviously had the rhythm. What was frustrating from the beginning was that it's almost like Mike McDaniel was like holding back without Tua. Like, what are we doing? But
Exactly.
ever since the Rams game, they went on and took charge. I was happy that they went against the Rams, took charge of that game. They really took control of the Cardinals game, even though it was a loss. They had control of that game early and lost control of it. They let momentum get away from them with stupid mistakes, and that was a lot of it was on their fault for that one. But they got on top of it, and I credit Mike McDaniel for like staying with it and not like panicking and not hitting like what the Giants did, and just kind of like giving it up. Which I mean, obviously they're not at that point, the Giants, where they need to like blow it up or anything, but. I like that they balanced the offense. They got away from a run heavy, which is what they were doing when they were losing. When we were out rushing opponents and we were running the ball as much as we were throwing, or more than we were throwing, we lost every single game. Colts, Cardinals, Bills, we lost every single one of those games. But when we threw more and we focused the offense around the short pass and the Achane, yes, that still counts. Set up the run with the pass, and I know we haven't ran as successful, and we're looking at 3 to 4 yards of carry, and we do need more out of the run game. It was still an effective offense. They're putting drives together. They're sustaining drives. They're scoring on every drive. You know, against the Raiders, they scored every drive. Against New England, yeah, they're facing man, but they picked that defense apart, and they probably won't see man that much done against the Packers, but they have done a good job of getting their players involved, getting their playmakers involved, and taking advantage of matchups. Achane against linebackers, taking advantage of Waddle against man. You know, Tyreek's still clearing it out, even though Tyreek's not doing as much. But in the Raiders game, when they needed the play to put the game away on a 3rd down and long, and yeah, the Raiders made a lot of mistakes to keep drives alive. They hit Tyreek. They hit Tyreek deep, and when they needed the play to keep the game in hand or in their hands and take control and win the game, they put it in Tyreek's hands, and that's what they should be doing. They should be players, not plays, and that's what McDaniel's done, and that counts. Like he's got Achane the ball, and yeah, Achane's probably the 3rd or 4th option, but he knows in certain situations Achane is a good option, and no more fades in the red zone. What's he doing? He's getting screens to his speed. He's getting his fastest guys the football on screens, and they're setting up the screens very well, and they're doing a good job, and they're not allowing the offensive line to have to block for too long, because he knows offensive lines around the NFL are not blocking for very long. So it's working, and I like that they're adapting. Instead of going run heavy, they're adapting with screens and short passes. And they're getting Jonnu Smith mismatch involved, and that's working very well for the offense.
Greg?
So starting with the Rams game, okay. McDaniel increased the tempo of the offense. They had possessions. Possessions matter. If you're going to do the 4 yards in a cloud of dust and you want to possess the ball and want long drives and things like that, you got to be almost perfect to win games that way. All right.
Yeah.
You can't out mistake the other team. The way to compensate for that is to have the ball more. You have the ball more possessions, you have the opportunity to score more points. Okay. They weren't really effective against the Rams, but the pace was better. Okay.
Yeah, that D line was killing us. The
Yeah.
Rams D line was phenomenal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But that was a step in the right direction. Okay.
Yeah.
The Raiders game, we haven't had a show, but
Sorry,
we've been
guys.
texting each other back and forth and stuff like that.
Mhm.
All right. When you get your playmakers touches, and your playmakers on this offense are the receivers, they're Hill, Waddle, and Jonnu Smith now. Okay. When those guys get 15 plus touches a game, good things usually happen.
Yeah.
That's what happened in the Raiders game. Okay. They had 15 plus touches between those three. And in the Patriots game, they had over 20 touches. That's why they were really good there. Okay. Those are your playmakers. Okay. And when you get the ball to your playmakers, you create big plays, you create chunk plays. Okay. And then you can have Achane play off of that, like Bret was saying, especially in the red zone. Because if you look at what the teams are starting to do to Miami in the red zone, they're kind of like just, encircling like Waddle and Hill.
Yeah, they struggle in the red zone.
Yeah. All right. But because they do that, that leaves Jonnu Smith and Achane essentially open. All right. And that's what we've seen the last 2 weeks. But he's increasing the touches to the players that matter. Okay. That's what needs to happen again tonight. All right. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. So
Ball's
what?
going to be heavy.
A ball's going to be, but so what? Get the balls to your playmaker, even if it's close to the line of scrimmage, and I'll rely on them to make plays. And that's what you have to do. And that's kind of what I'm hoping I see tonight. It might be 60-40 pass. It might be 55-45 pass to run. But get those 15 touches to your guys, and you got a real good chance at winning.
Let me ask you, my biggest fear tonight is the fact that I don't want to. Xavier McKinney is right now the defensive player of the year, the way he's been playing. The guy, how the Giants gave up on that guy. The guy has 7 interceptions already for a safety. He's having I think our safeties have 0 interceptions total. This guy has 7 on his own. I don't want Tua throwing the ball deep. I don't want him forcing anything, because Tua, when he starts forcing that ball in this cold weather, we're going to be in trouble. You want to get it to Tyreek, you want to get it to Waddle. I don't mind that 5 to 9, 5 to 12 yard, but if I see him bombing the ball, it's going to die and it's going to land in a safety or cornerback's hand. I don't care if Zaire, I don't care if Zaire Alexander's out. I don't care. That's asking for trouble. Tua has to be Chad Pennington tonight. He cannot be throwing it in the air like crazy. I want to see more passes than runs, but you have to get your playmakers in a very efficient way. I don't want him. He cannot win the game. He has to be part of the ability. He has to be part of the team that wins, but he can't be the guy who tries to win the game.
You remember that game, the windy game with Buffalo and New England, and they were toe to toe running the ball at each other. Yeah. But you remember Buffalo had a couple shots. Even the Packers or the Patriots had a couple shots.
Yeah.
That's the kind of game I expect. And but the short passing plays a part. The way they maneuver the offense, the motions, the formations and all, they get guys like Jonnu Smith open. You notice Jonnu Smith's getting a lot of yards at the catch.
Yeah.
You notice he's like, they're using him deep, but you notice they're slowly move him back. Achane's getting open, and the way they're maneuvering him on wheel routes and stuff. So that's going to be the passing aspect. They're going to be short passes. It's a lot like, I could keep comparing it to Andy Reid and Mike Holmgren style offenses, where it's pass heavy, but it's short passes. Bill Walsh back in the day, a lot of screens and short passes, a lot of West Coast influence. I've seen a lot more of the Shanahan and West Coast influence in this offensive game planning this season, where it was more of the March deep passing last season. Now I'm starting to see a little bit more of that like shallow stuff. So I think that's what we're going to see tonight, or should see.
Okay. What do you guys think? Okay, let's just get this out of the way because I've been raked over the coals for 2 weeks on purpose, trolling a little bit. But can you guys explain to the people watching, so we can have it on recording,
Here we go.
why you both agree with me? Yes, I think he's a great talent. I think he is useful. But if they believe that, if everyone on this network believes, and the people around us believe, that Achane is the key to our stardom and our keys to our victories, because he gets all the touches and he's able to make these plays, can we please explain to the masses why we all believe that Javon Achane is truly a mid running back? Greg, you can go first.
Yeah, I might be the one who started this.
I agree.
No, I mean,
My God.
He's talented. He's fast. Okay. You
Mhm.
get him out in space, he's something special. The problem is that running back getting him out in space.
Yeah.
He doesn't create mismatches in space at the running back position carrying the ball. It's
Okay.
better when he's outside in a pass catching role. Okay.
Yes.
And the point of the offense is, the point of any offense, whether it's Miami or whatever, is to get your 2 or 3 best players the ball as often as you can.
Mhm.
All right. And like it or not, he is not one of your 2 or 3 best players on offense.
No,
I'm
he's
sorry,
not.
he's not.
I
Okay.
said he's 4 or 5.
He's
Really?
4 or 5. Okay. And
Yeah.
the other 3 happen to be pass catchers.
Are we talking Jonnu, Tyreek, and Waddle above him?
And Waddle. Yes.
Yeah.
those are-
Sorry, actually, no, on off. And then if you include all the offensive players, I don't think he's even in the top 6, because you have Armstead, you have Waddle,
Well,
you have
I mean,
Smith, you have Hill, you have
positions.
Tua.
Yeah,
Like,
that's. I think you're
he's
getting some.
maybe past Mostert now, but
Well, he's
besides
past
that,
Mostert.
he's past Mostert now. But
So-
I think we need Armstead too. Like, we could win football games with Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert more than we can win with 8. Like, I'm saying that we need Waddle and Hill on the field with Jonnu Smith and Teron Armstead and Tua more than we need Achane. Achane's number 5 or 6.
But I caught a lot of heat on, during the
I
off
got you.
season.
I got you.
All right. When I said that Mostert wasn't anything special, even after the year he had last year, that me and Bret had talked about how running back was a major need for this team.
Yeah.
Okay. Before the draft, free agency, and things like that. All right.
Because we were both big on Henry and Saquon coming to Miami.
Correct.
Major.
Because they changed their offense. I didn't give a crap about.
Well, the Ravens should
Odell
have
and all.
4 losses, right? The Ravens should have 2 if they used Henry right.
Well, again, but he's a difference maker. He's a play.
We're
he's
not
one of the
bashing
top-
Achane. See,
Yeah.
the trolls are the positive
No,
devils here.
but that's the thing. We're not bashing
We're
any
not.
of
We
them.
love Achane. He's a
Right.
great complimentary player.
We're just
he's a
not saying
complimentary
he's.
player.
We're not calling him elite. That's the problem here.
He
I'll get
can't-
into that in a minute.
He can't be a 20 touch a game player.
No,
That's the problem. And when the Dolphins were losing games, it was because Achane, Mostert, and those guys were touching the ball 20 to 30 times a game, over half the players. All right. That's the problem. That was the problem with the offense. The offense has gotten better the last 3
we love you,
weeks.
see Devil. We love you, see Devil. We want your positivity.
Exactly. The Dolphins offense has gotten better the last 3 weeks during
Yeah.
the win streak because they have taken touches away from Achane
Achane.
and Mostert
Yeah.
and
Correct.
given them to Hill, Waddle, and Smith.
When we
That's good offense. And for the life of me, my biggest criticism of McDaniel this year has been not getting those guys the ball. All right. And
Not
it's just
necessarily.
not.
he's a threat in space when the wide receivers give him the option,
See.
because they're focusing on Jonnu Smith, they're focusing on Waddle, they're focusing on Hill. They give him the opportunity. He would not have those opportunities if Hill and Waddle were not on the field. Because if you happen to notice, when Hill and Waddle take a break on 3rd down and Achane's on the field, not much happens. You ever realize that?
Here's the thing. Achane, the more carries he gets, the less his yards per carry goes down, which is duh. But he had 4 yards of carry against the Bills the first time with 22 carries. That was his best game as far as yards per carry. He had 4 yards per carry against the Raiders, and 3 yards per carry against the Patriots, 3 against the Rams, 5 against the Bills, 5 against the Colts. So like, and 90 or 9 against the Cardinals with a long run. But the thing is, he is schemed, and it's the same thing with Mostert. Mostert was schemed for the big season he had last year. A lot of people don't want to admit that. He's a decent back. He's a perfect back for the system. That's why he was brought in. And Achane is exactly what they brought in Edmonds for at 22, and Edmonds didn't end up being the guy. So they used Mostert in that role and Jeff Wilson until they got it. Now Achane had become the guy to fill that role. And now the reason that Achane gets so many touches too is because they want to run the ball with him and throw it to him. They want him on the field as a passing threat. But if all they do is use him to throw, then you're just tipping your hand like we did with Mike Gesicki. So having him on the field, use him on the run, because he is an effective runner enough to where teams are worried about his speed. He's not going to break tackles, but he has a breakaway speed that now you can use him they have an actual threat to say, okay, they will hand the ball off to him, or they're going to throw to him. We don't know yet. So, like, you have to keep the defense honest. If they always bring him, every time they bring right in and it's a run, then, oh, hey, they're running, which has been the case quite a bit, which I wish I would get away from that. But, like, but Achane's a good back in his role. He's a role player. He fits well. And I want people to start thinking of James White of the Patriots. Was he an elite back? No. But was he perfect for their system? Did he do everything they needed for them in the system? Absolutely. So, like, I don't see this as like a knock on him. He's a good back. He's fantastic for what they need him for and how they use him. I would like to see Wright get more touches, and he's starting to.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say this.
Yes,
right?
he did. He is a threat to run.
Yes.
And I've said this since from the beginning of the year. Okay, defenses don't stop schemes; they stop players.
Yeah.
And defenses are focused on stopping Hill, Waddle, and now Smith. All right. Every time Achane touches the ball, the defenses are happy.
Yes.
All right. Because that means Smith, Waddle, and Hill aren't
not a factor. Correct.
All right. They're not a factor on that play.
Yeah.
And it's the lesser of
that's an
two
issue.
evils or 3 evils. Like, I mean, Achane is
Correct.
still like, he's still fast, and it's like they still have to account for him. But when Jonnu creates bad mismatches, the way they use him, linebackers and corners are having a hard time covering him, and the way they're using him is fantastic, and that's giving defenses headaches. So Achane is just like a second thought, and they're like, crap, now we got to worry about him. So it is a good problem to have, just to put that out there.
Let me ask you though, Greg and Brett. So people's concerns is the fact that when we were losing, the running game was doing great. Then we started winning, and the running game fell apart, and we're getting under 100 yards a game. Is that strictly because Ingold hasn't been out, or because our team is not built to have a dominating running game if we truly want to win football games? Does the running game and the lack of what people say of a running game concern you?
No. It does not concern me, because that's not how this offense is set up. This offense is set up to basically get your 3 best players the ball, and the 3 best players are pass catchers. And it's that simple. Miami can run the ball if they want. Okay, they can. All right. It's not a bad thing to be able to run the football, but it can't be your focus. Not on this team. Not with this personnel. Okay. And like it or not, Achane is not a top tier running back.
No.
He's not a guy that defenses are focusing on stopping. All right, he's not Derrick Henry.
He's not David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs. You watch these guys today.
Correct.
When they run, they power right through.
Okay,
that's not Achane.
They're not. He shouldn't be the focus of the offense.
Yeah.
And for this team to advance and this team to win the next 6 games, which they should, I'll say it right now, they should win the next 6 games. All right. It's not going to be because Devon Achane is carrying the offense. It's going to be because Tua is finding his playmakers outside making plays, and those guys are making plays.
Yeah. And real quick on that, I will say that part of the reason the run game was working is the defenses were playing to stop the pass. And like Greg has said multiple times, the defense will give you the run game between the 20s all day. As long as you keep the ball away from Hill and Waddle and now Smith, they'll give you the run game. And then in the red zone, now your passing attack becomes compressed, and it's a lot easier to cover the pass in that short area, in theory, for the speed, because now you might not get it beat deep anymore. So now you have the extra bodies to make the plays against the run. So that's what was happening with Miami as well. And that's why the scores were lower. Of course, they scored well against Buffalo. They scored well against Arizona, right? But the problem with Buffalo is the fumble and the ball in the wrong player's hands. And I like Mostert, no disrespect to Mostert, but when I'm like trying to win the game, I'm going to use Mostert to get the ball. But that fumble issue, it's a major issue, and that flipped the game. That put the game in a reach for Miami.
Well,
And
Arizona was costed by Tua.
Yeah, and then
and his fumbling 22
and then more. Well, they get to the 50-yard line, or getting past the 50 for that first down to Jonnu, and then nothing after, walking away with no score. So that also cost it. But again, it was a focus on the run game and getting away from what you do well and your best players. And again, it goes back to the simplicity of it. Who's your best players? Get them the ball. Right, right. But in big plays, when in big moments, see that, well, who did they get the ball to? Roger Craig was actually, I think, probably their second best weapon, though, because Jerry Rice is their best weapon. When they needed to play, it was probably Clark or Rice, actually.
Yeah.
Or John Taylor. So,
Terrell
Roger Craig
Owens.
was a fantastic back, right? Roger Craig was fantastic. Yeah. But, again, in that system, he was great, but they had other players that when they needed a big play. Who would you rather, if the 49ers came out, that 49ers team came out, and they said, we're not going to get the ball to Jerry Rice, you would call, thank God. Did you give it to Roger Craig? It's still going to be a long day trying to cover Roger Craig and deal with him, but I'd rather him than a great receiver like Jerry Rice, who gives me hell. So that's all we're saying. Roger Craig, great player, and Etienne could be a fantastic player. It's just he's not our best weapon.
No.
And
it's not
as good as Roger Craig was, and he had 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in the same year a couple times. All right, as good as he was not the focus of the offense, and he was not the focus of what the defense was trying to stop.
No.
He was exactly what the defense. He was Bill Walsh's answer to, you want to take our receivers away? Fine, we're gonna have a weapon underneath, and you're gonna have to deal with him, and that's what they've done with Achane.
Yeah,
and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I like having Achane on the roster. I also want to have a compliment to him, which is why I like Wright, and I don't think Wright is as much of a problem as how they've been using him.
Yeah, I think they've been using him in the wrong instances. In terms of Tua, I don't want to get too much into it. I think overall, what does Tua need to do to stay out of trouble today? Because I want to be clear. What I've noticed, because I've been hard on Tua the last couple of weeks, because I keep on blaming him for this losing where we are right now. Because had he been the Tua that he should have been all season, he wouldn't have got injured game 2. He wouldn't have played hero ball. He would have known where the 4th down marker was, and he would have slid. And then we wouldn't have been in this situation where Mike McDaniel didn't know what to do for 4 games. But one thing I noticed in the last 3 weeks, especially last week, is he may not be an elite quarterback, but man, this guy has elite ball handling skills, because the guy knows how to move a football. He knows how to hide the football. He knows how to get rid of the football. He knows how to move the football. He when he tries to be an athlete versus a quarterback, he gets himself in trouble. When he tries to be something that he's not, he gets himself in trouble. If he becomes one of the members of the team and plays the way he's been playing, like he played this past Sunday, we have a very good chance of winning tonight. If he tries to kill the narrative and tries to do it himself, we're in deep trouble. So what does Tua need to do tonight, in your mind, before we get to the defensive side of the ball and active keys to the game tonight, that will give the Dolphins the best chance to come out victorious?
My simple take, just keep it simple and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep taking what the defense is giving you. Don't turn the ball over, obviously, but keep taking what the defense is giving you. Exploit the mismatches, but get your playmakers of football. Don't and be decisive. Get the ball out quick. Don't hold the ball, and don't panic, and just don't be dumb with the football. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And honestly, ball security. He hasn't had a snap issue in a while, but it's cold, it's windy. Be smart with the football. and take the chances out of there.
No, and I would agree with that 100%. Look, we have two quarterbacks going tonight. Okay, that like to put the ball in trouble. I'll say it that way. All right, Jordan Love will throw the ball to the other team. Okay,
Oh yeah,
he doesn't
yeah.
fumble as much, but he will throw the ball to the other team.
8 interceptions in the last 9 games, I think.
Something like that, right? So we're going to talk about that when we talk about the defense, and that being the key is to catch the balls that Jordan is going to throw to the defense, right?
Mhm.
But to me, all right, I kind of wish Evan was here to hear this, but to me, Tua, these next 6 games, all right, be the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 1,800 plus yards, 2,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, 1 or 2 interceptions. Don't lose fumbles. All right. He needs to take care of the ball, but
Yeah.
he also needs to perform at a high level. All right.
Yeah.
If we're going to do anything in the playoffs, and I expect this team to still make the playoffs, I expect 6 wins. Okay. Tua needs to be an MVP caliber player, right? He needs to be that 18 touchdown over the next 16 games and 2 or 3 interceptions. He needs to be that 1,800 yards, 2,000 yards player, you know. And if Miami goes into the playoffs on a 9-game win streak, we're tough out, even on the road, even playing some of these other teams. All right, make it happen. Do you know? Look, you're the new $50 million a year quarterback, okay? Play like an MVP.
Yeah.
You've been MVP in September and October's before. Let's be one in December and January. All right? Be that guy. For Miami to go somewhere in the playoffs, to be a championship team, you got to win because of your quarterback.
Yeah.
It's time to be that guy. He's 5th year in.
Yeah.
Let's be that guy.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting Tua to step up.
Yeah.
Right. Become a reason you're winning, and not necessarily just another guy.
Yeah.
All right. Be the reason you're winning.
But what I'm saying, he should be the reason why you're winning, but he should not be the reason why you lose also. So he can't be the gunslinger. He can't be Josh Allen.
Right.
He can't be Lamar Jackson. He can't
He doesn't have to be
Patrick Mahomes. But he thinks he needs to be sometimes.
Yeah.
And like Brett and I were just saying, Jordan Love and Tua will give the ball to the other team if you let them. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Both of them will.
He's thrown an interception in almost every before last game. Jordan Love.
Every game
He's thrown an interception.
8 weeks straight.
And he's actually the reason why they're in 3rd place in their division is because number one, Eberflus is a moron. But at the same time, because Jordan Love has not been the Jordan Love of last year.
Now, I will say he's thrown less than 2 touchdowns 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But he's thrown 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 0, 0, 1, and 2. So he's only 3 weeks that he's thrown less than 2 touchdowns. So he will throw touchdowns too. But I mean, he's been so inconsistent. His completion percentage has been all over the place. It's been over 60 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 4 out of 9 games. The rest has been in the 50s or below 60. So that's not good.
But if everybody remembers last year, Jordan Love went on an incredible run at the end of the year and then carried that team into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the kind of run Tua needs now, starting tonight.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
He needs to be the reason they win these 6 games.
Yep. Yeah. So, talking about Green Bay a little bit, let's move over to the defense, because one other person I joked around a couple weeks ago that's been a bust, but he hasn't been. What has impressed you, and what has created this all of a sudden this rookie sensation and Chop Robinson now getting 3.5 sacks in his last 3 games? What has caused our first round pick to blossom like he has the last few games, Brett?
Well, a few things. One, coaching. I think coaching's done well with him. That they've figured out, kind of got him up to speed. Because the talk around him should not have been surrounded by bust at all. But it was.
I did the troll.
Yeah, no, not you. Just a lot of people have said
Yeah.
that. But the thing is, like Greg had pointed out, a lot of our players we draft are drafted to sit a year or two. And Chop Robinson, every bit of it, just the from the team was like, oh, he's not going to be ready. He's going to be a rotational guy behind our starters kind of mentality. And again, it was little production from our draft picks.
Yeah.
However, I do want to tell people pump the brakes a little bit. Oh, he's a rookie of the year kind of candidate already. No, calm down. So the way they're using him is fantastic. He's a speed rusher. He get like Greg. We were texting back and forth, and he does lose outside containment. He did it against Allen, did it against Drake May. So he's still
couldn't keep him in
learning.
the pocket.
Right. So he's got to learn to be a little bit patient and not let them get
Too
outside
excited.
the pocket as much. But he'll get there. But when they're using him, it seems to be more of a wide 9 alignment out wide. Defensive tackles are taking up 1 to 2 gaps, so they're taking on 2 defenders at a time, or offensive linemen. So he's getting 1-on-1 and he's getting the outside edge. And I'll take Chop Robinson to beat you around the corner every time. He's lower to the ground, kind of like Cam Wake, to where he can bend around the corner quickly, even when you run him, get him out wide. He has the speed to close, and you've seen that. So I want to give Weaver a lot of credit for making do, benching David Long as well, but like getting the guys in place to do what they do best and play to their strengths the best he can. The defense is not perfect, but I think it's 1, usage, and 2, the light bulb starting to come on for him, and he's starting to figure it out. So, but again, it was what Greg said, immediate production from rookies is not something we typically see from a Greer drafted team. And you'll see it every now and then, but like Phillips took a little bit to come on. Jalen Waddle really didn't. He was kind of thrust into the lineup. But like Tua took a little bit, obviously to come on. It even took a couple years and a couple coaches. So it's like always something like Austin Jackson. They didn't even know where the hell they wanted to play him. Left tackle, the right tackle, the guard. And they didn't. So it's like it's always the projects with them. They have like no answer. So
Happy Thanksgiving, Cat.
Robinson's a fantastic talent. And I think he's fine, but I don't see him as a dominant edge rusher, but I do see him as a good speed rusher, pass rusher, long-term, maybe a specialty pass rusher, but we'll see. But I think he's done well, but I like the way they're using him. And if they're using him up the middle, on the edge, out wide, so they're giving him usage to take advantage of his speed. But they still have to worry about him breaking containment. But Brooks has done a good job cleaning up behind him too.
Yeah. Before you go, Greg, I just want to list everybody the inactives. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate everyone watching. Happy Thanksgiving. So Sharon Armstead's in. They sat him for the fourth quarter. He's ready to go. He seems good to go. So out for today is Anthony Walker as expected. Tyler Huntley. Thank God he's there as a third emergency because I would not put Skylar Thompson in there.
He's inactive. He was activated from the IR.
Exactly. Bonner's out again. Fuller's out. Stoll and Estrich are nothing out of the ordinary. So we're very, very healthy. Considering we're heading into December, we're pretty healthy as a team for the year. We couldn't ask for more right now. So, Greg, before you get into how the defense Chop Robinson, I want to then follow up with this question. So no Anthony Walker. So we have Dobson, who made a great interception catch. But the one thing that people said in the last few weeks on why the defense, even though Sealer's been a stud, Campbell's been a stud, Anthony Walker has been the blue dot of this defense. He's the one managing the defense on the field, letting them know where to be for every play. How big of a loss is Anthony Walker in your mind? And is it Brooks? Who should be the guy running the defense tonight for the Dolphins without Walker there tonight?
I think it's probably going to be Brooks or Dobson, but I'm leaning toward Brooks.
Okay, can he do it?
Hopefully. I don't know what the option is, to be honest with you. You lose 2 of your play callers and 2 of the people who are getting you in position. I don't want to see him on the field, but Duke Riley is probably more situated to getting everybody.
Coverage. Oh my God!
I know.
He's the worst coverage linebacker I think I've ever seen in my life. He makes David Long look like an all-pro. It's pretty close. Duke Riley. Did you not watch last year? 2 years ago, Duke Riley in coverage.
No,
Holy crap!
No, I did, but Philip Wheeler just. Hey.
Yeah. but the defense made a subtle change when Phillips went out after a game or 2. And basically...
Boyer's fault.
Well, basically what they did with Chop Robinson, getting back to him, right? is they made him a situational pass rusher, which is what he should have been basically from
Yeah.
the beginning of the year. All right,
Yeah.
They in I'm going to steal a saying from the old Bears days. With Ted Washington in the middle and things like that. Basically, Miami converted from a 3-4 defense in early downs to a 4-3. Okay. They got 1,200 pounds of ass on the defensive line saying, try to move me to stop the run. And it's actually a 4-2-5. Okay. But they got Campbell, Sealer, they got Hand, they got Ogba. Okay.
Jones hasn't been terrible either. Benito's actually played
Benito
reasonably
Jones
well.
and stuff like that. They got a
That
lot
man's
of
huge. Holy crap, that guy.
they got a lot of massive people on that D line to stop the run.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think they did that to compensate for their bad linebacker play stopping the run as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but what did that do? That took Chop Robinson off the field for runs to make him concentrate on pass rush. In the last 3 games, he's been an effective pass rusher. I caution this week though with Chop. You cannot let if he's rushing off of a left end, a defensive left end, okay, against the right offensive tackle. You cannot allow Jordan Love to escape to his right.
No,
Okay,
it's the strongest
he
side.
will hurt you. Okay, Stafford is not a mobile guy. Okay,
Not anymore, no.
Gardner Minshew is not gonna. He's not good.
Drake May is a rookie, but
Okay,
he burns
Drake
you.
May is a rookie, but he was able to make plays outside of the pocket as well, escaping to his right.
Yeah.
Okay,
His
don't let
dominant-
Jordan Love do that tonight. Okay,
No.
that is a critical part of the defense. All right, because he will hurt you if he does that.
Right.
Push him to his left, make him make plays that way.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm going to be interested in looking at today to see if Weaver basically moves some things around. Is Ogba going to be rushing off of Jordan Love's right, and put Chop Robinson going up against the left tackle instead? Seeing if there's going to be some way of containment within the quarterback.
And Chop's speed is so impressive to watch. His closing speed's great and fantastic. His motor's good. One thing I will say about him is I've watched him fly across the field, chasing a play down, and I love seeing that. Like he's driven. He wants to be a good player, and he wants to make every play. And I like his character. I think he's got a potential, but that right there, it's allowing the athletic quarterback to get outside, and that's something that we've had for a long time that's killed us.
Yeah. Speaking of, you said there's a lot of weight on our D line. Josh Jacobs is having a resurrected season in Green Bay. There's a more run folk. I think he ran 40 times against the 49ers. Does that concern you? How do we contain Josh Jacobs tonight, both of you?
I think it's exactly the way we've been stopping the run here lately. Is basically putting the big guys up front and saying, okay, what's that going to leave open? It's going to leave open play action, okay, for Green Bay. I have concern at cornerback for Miami. Right now, Fuller being out, it hurts. But you can't let Josh Jacobs beat you. You got to, and their wide receiver core is going to be down Dobbs tonight. So you got to stop the run. You got to put those 4 big guys on the defensive line and say you're not going to get any push. And then if they do play action, you got to rely on Sealer and Campbell to get to the quarterback.
And to add to that as well, being that Campbell and Sealer have been able to get pressure and get up the field and create some issues, I saw Omar Kelly had said that Tyus Bowser was out today. I didn't see him on the inactives, but I guess he got hurt. And if that is the case, he had said that Kamara could be activated and that for the practice squad, and that Calais Campbell will be playing more edge. That kind of tipped the hand to how they want to stop the run, Packers run, who's a very run-heavy offense. and I can see that's part of the game plan was Campbell more of an edge, the control of the edge. So probably a heavy dose of Campbell and Ogba out on the as defensive ends. Sealer, Benito Jones, and Sean Hand inside, and probably a rotation of those guys. And that will allow them to stop the run and then obviously keep passing down. You bring in Chop for the speed. But that, to me, would probably give them a better chance of slowing down the run and helping the linebackers, especially since Walker's out. Of course, our linebackers are struggling against the run anyway. Brooks is not a bad linebacker. He can fly to the football, gets through traffic better than David Long does, but we're still missing that linebacker to stop the run.
But when you have those 4 big guys and they're not allowing the offensive line to get up to the second level,
you get the run free.
Those linebackers get to run free, and then they can make tackles.
Yeah, it's
and
all about Sealer, though. Honestly, though, I don't know. When I look back on it now, he is by far my favorite player on this team because the effort he gives is no matter what the score. When they, by the way, I think you both can agree. With the games he was out, if he's there, we get at least one of those victories. He is a complete game changer on that defensive line. Like,
he is.
He is the best to have that kind of a player. By the way, his legacy, Chris Greer's legacy, as bad as he's been, his best signing was Zach Sealer. It's not even close. It's not even close. Just to let you know, the best line so far, Joe Shad of the Palm Beach Post, which we're all agreeing that he's at the game, that the Miami Dolphins throwbacks in the snow right now because it's flurries are glorious, spectacular, and perfect. I cannot wait to watch that game with those uniforms. By the way, is one of the smartest things they did. The fact that they're wearing those tonight is is amazing. To wear, they would have worn the plain white, it would have been that gives it such a nice little feel.
Every time we play on Thanksgiving, when we played Dallas in 2011, I think it was, and
we played
every time
2000 and something. Fiedler was 2000.
Did we play the Lions on Thanksgiving more? Joey Harrington, I think, was the quarterback, and we didn't wear the throwbacks. And I've been waiting for us to wear throwbacks. Hey, we won that game too. I've been waiting for us to wear throwbacks since we won. 40-21 in 2003. Like you said earlier, Chris Chambers had a 3-touchdown game. Jason Taylor had a great game. Yeah. That was an amazing game on the road. I was joking last night when we had Bobby Shoes on here from the dive bar on Bobby's show.
Me and you were driving him bananas.
I commented, I said, hey, the last time we wore all white throwbacks on Thanksgiving, we won 40-21. It's meant to be. Yeah. But we'll see, because I think we win one, loss, one. I don't know. But I'm hoping we win this one. Like, I really do hope we win this game.
Just to give you guys, just to give you an update, like from what they're seeing from warm-ups, like Quentin Bell is probably going to start opposite Ogba over Bowser, and we'll bring in Chop obviously as our special team.
Quentin Bell has actually played pretty decent. In spots.
I don't anticipate him being on the field though during run down.
No, very long. Let him just start. Let me ask you though, because I want to leave it out there, and then we'll talk about keys to the game. And everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe. We have over 120 people watching all across the different channels. How is Marcus May got cut? How does Josh Poyer still have a job? In your opinion, what a redeemable quality does he have as a safety that has benefited the Miami Dolphins this season?
The only thing that I can think of, is that he gets the secondary and the coverage organized.
Yeah.
Okay. He makes sure that everybody's
Barack Obama, he was a community organizer. What is this?
Well, you need the communication person in the background, in the defensive backfield, to basically make sure everybody's running the same coverage, right? Or the coverage they should be. He's probably really good at that. Okay. He's not as good at football.
Tua's sleeveless
not
tonight,
these days.
Tua's going sleeveless tonight, boys.
Poyer he's a step slower than he was. He used to be able to just clear so much distance, cover so much distance. He's not the same.
It's Father Time. Father Time's undefeated, and he's moving like an old player. All right, but there is value in him if he gets everybody lined up correctly.
Yeah.
All right. And if you look this year, one of the things that has been noticeable is there hasn't been a lot of drop coverages. There has not been a lot of miscommunication in the defensive backfield.
I
So,
noticed early on in the season when Holland was on the field, it was always the Holland side, and Ramsey was always yelling at Holland. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Anytime Ramsey looked like he got beat, you see him throwing his hands, looking at Holland, yelling at him. And I would guarantee you that Ramsey did his job and Holland screwed up. I almost guarantee that.
Well-
And Holland screws up a lot. So I think, but since he's been back from injury, that's settled down quite a bit.
and I think one of the things that we're going to see today, Miami defensively, it's going to be a big tell is who is Ramsey covering.
Yeah.
Is
Dobbs
Ramsey
is not out, so it'll probably be Watson or probably be
Reed maybe?
Reed.
It's going to be probably Reed because Reed is their weapon.
So you
Yes.
think Watson will be covered by Kohu?
Maybe Storm Duck, whoever's starting outside.
Because by the way, what do we do about Kohu? Like I know he's in his third year. He continues to make very rookie mistakes. The missile tackle, taking poor pass interference penalties. Like, what do we do about that?
He needs to be back inside.
Yeah, but what's your alternative on the outside? Play Bonner?
I think,
Well, Storm.
Storm Duck?
So, I'm anxious to see what Storm Duck does today. All right, I don't think he played too badly
No, he
last
hasn't
week.
been bad.
no, I don't think so either. I thought he
No.
played pretty well.
Yeah, and I know that's against New England, and New England's wide receivers suck.
Yeah.
All right, but I mean, he did not play that badly last week. So let's see what we got with him, because honestly, I haven't been all that impressed with Fuller this year. So let's see what's going on.
Another Father Time guy. Because the Fuller brothers, I was a big fan of both of them. I thought they're good. They're well coached corners. They do their job, and they're nothing like spectacular. Kind of remind me like Leon Hall back in the day with the Bengals. Just does his job, but they kind of like I think again Father Time caught up with kind of Fuller, and he's just kind of a okay corner now. He's not a great corner, but he's good enough to win with if your pass rush is there and he does his job, but he's not like spectacular anymore.
So
I
guys,
don't think it's hard to repeat.
So guys, we're just under 25 minutes of game time. So I want to get you guys settled so everyone has time before the game starts. So what are both of your three keys to the game? What are your keys to the game?
So my key to the game is get your playmakers involved early. All right, yeah. So my three keys, the first one is get your playmakers involved. Get Tyreek and Jalen Waddle involved early. Johnny Smith, get them all involved. The second key to the game is on defense. Like Greg said, do not let Jordan Love get outside the pocket. Do not let him break contain. Keep him in the pocket. Keep him flustered, and catch everything that comes to you on defensively. Right. So take advantage of turnovers. And three, protect the football. Do not turn it over. I don't think that we can go toe to toe with the Packers if we're turning it over. I think we can go toe to toe with them offensively if we don't turn it over, and we. I don't want to say mistake free, but if we win the turnover battle, I think we win this game. That's my take there. So,
Greg?
Offense, chunk yardage. Got to get big plays. Okay, it's snowing. Offense should have the advantage. Okay, especially with our speed guys. All right. 2, stop the run. Okay, Josh Jacobs is the guy I fear most right now. If he's having a big day running the ball, it's going to be awfully hard to win. 3, weather, special teams. Special teams and weather is key. All right. We can't miss field goals. We can't have penalties. We can't have blocks or bad punts and things like that. Right. And Orion, yes. Score more points. That's always simple.
I think he's. I think you might know. I think you might know him. I think he might be a relative of yours.
Hey, real quick, I just saw something interesting. I want to point out to you guys real quick. Jaden Reed, we were just talking about him. In every loss, he's had over 100 yards. In every game they won, he was under 100 yards. His best game outside of
put him on Kohu.
in the wins,
Put Kohu
78 yards.
Put Kohu on him.
But I think there's a correlation there in the fact that he's a big play threat when they're behind. So when you get ahead, he's the one you want to cover. That's who they seem to go to when they need a big play.
Yeah.
So make sure you keep him
Yeah.
out of it when you have the lead.
Yeah. So for me, mine are very easy, very similar to yours, but I'll give three different ones. One, no penalties. No, the Dolphins are already bad enough at getting themselves behind the 8 ball on first down by by running the ball and end up 2nd and 12. Like no penalties, none. I don't want to be if we're 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20, 3rd and 15. Tua's going to force it and it's going to lead to turnovers. So no penalties.
And I will say this: the last 2 games they have been very
Very, very good.
Very good.
Tua has to protect the football. Just protect the football. I do not force it. You have tight windows, but go to your playmakers, make the easy throws. And then if you're unsure of something, do not force yourself out of the pocket. You're not Jordan Love. You need to just get rid of the ball. Play for the next down. Play for the next down. And on the defensive side of the ball, I need to see something from our safety core. I need to see something from from Javon Holland and Josh Poyer. They've been passengers for most of the season. I need to see Xavier McKinney should not be the guy with the interception today. It should be one of those two today. Guys, we really appreciate everyone watching. DSG just gave his prediction, 21-17. So, Greg, I'll let you go first. What is your prediction for tonight's football game?
I am going to go 23-19
For
Miami.
Brett?
I'm going to stick with what I said the score area will be. I'm going to say 27-23 Dolphins.
Okay. I will make this prediction because I apologize on a regular basis. If the Dolphins somehow pull this off, if they win tonight, I will leave Mike McDaniel alone the rest of the year. I will not insult him. I will not criticize him.
Well,
I will let him be a head coach and let him play out the rest of the season like Chris Greer if they win this football game.
unless they do what they did against Dallas, win that game and then lose the rest. So, like,
no, I will not be hard on him. I gave Jason Sanders a mea culpa last season. I will do the same thing with McDaniel for the rest of the year.
Hey, he's got. I want to give him credit to like getting things turned around. And if they win tonight, that is a big sign that McDaniel kind of figures some things out.
Okay. However, being the negative Canadian of the network, I don't believe that Tua has learned his lesson as much as I love Tua. I think Mike McDaniel is going to try to one-up LaFleur the same way he tried to do it with Staley, the same way he tried to do it with Shanahan, and I think he's going to be a little too big for his britches, and he's going to revert to the mistakes he made in Kansas City and the mistakes he's made in Baltimore and I believe that tonight, as much as we want the Dolphins to win, final score, Packers 27, Dolphins 17. I think we're going to lose it. I think by the third midway, I think at the half, something weird's going to happen where the Green Bay is going to have the ball and we're going to give them 3 points. McDaniel's going to revert to his stupidity because that was what Mike McDaniel does. I want them to change the narrative. I want everyone to come on this network after the game and to rip me a new one. But as long as Mike McDaniel is our head coach, something bad is going to happen. The same way Chris Greer's been our GM, something bad always happens. So as long as those two are tied together and Tua wants to kill the narrative, he didn't say we need to kill the narrative. He said we, but he believes he's the guy who has to do it. If he forces it, and by the way, if he forces it, if he throws an interception tonight, we lose. I don't care when he throws it. If he throws an interception, it's going to be deadly. It's going to lead to 7.
Well, last time we played him, we lost 26-20, and we know what happened, and they turned the ball over.
Yeah.
There was a great game plan. Waddle and Tyreek were having a day.
Yeah.
And second half is when they fell apart.
Yeah.
We cannot have a second half like we did against New England last week. And I know they were probably throttling back.
Or the Raiders.
Right. They throttled back. I get it.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah, pedal to the metal all game. All 4 quarters this game. Do not slow down. Look, you got extra time off next week to get ready for the Jets. And I'm not overlooking the Jets, but go in. Like, run this team. Get pedal to the metal.
Yeah. So, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. You're going to catch myself, Greg, Bobby Finstock, Dave Stager, who on the post-game show right after this football game is over will be with you. Even though I got to work tomorrow, I don't care. Biggest night of my year tomorrow, day of the year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I don't care. Dolphins first. I hope I'm wrong tonight. But until they prove me wrong, I got my hopes up last year over and over and over again, and I got knocked down. That's why the bandwagon is in the shop under a tarp. under covers, I don't even know. It's not coming out anytime soon. Overtime is happening a lot more than a bandwagon. I can promise you that. So, guys, Greg, Bret, happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you both. Thank you for reiterating what I've been saying for weeks. It's nice to have my own Braves back. It's a pleasure. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes.
And as always, like to say, fins up.
Fins up.
Fins up.
Go Dolphins.
Go Dolphins.